Light the beam, because it's time for Nerdy for 30, podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. the Critics' Choice. With me, as always, the People's Champ, Tim Cack.
If you feel it, chase it, baby. What up, Fat Bears?
What up, Fat Bears? Today, we are talking about Obsession because you demanded it. And by you, I mean Corey Frame. What's up, Corey? You know, this movie's great. We probably should have made sure to get to this earlier. It's been a little interesting adapting what movies we're covering with the every other week schedule. We are now in kind of a fun thing where, like, I think we basically are on the bubble as to whether we're going to cover The Odyssey or not, which is a really funny place. We'll get to it when it wins an Oscar next year.
We might. I'll watch it this weekend.
It's fine. I'll save it for if we do an episode about it. But, you know, Obsession's a worthy topic of conversation. Not only was this movie a complete and total cultural sensation, the likes of Christopher Nolan himself have expressed a lot of appreciation of, but also is a great movie. Tim, do you agree? Did you think Obsession rocked?
I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
All right,
I thought it was so good. So good. It was great. It was great. It was a little scary at night. I was watching it alone in the apartment. And like, it's like the creepy stuff where she's just in the shadows and stuff. I turned off the lights and I was like, ooh, am I alone? Am I alone? I can't tell. And it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's also really creepy and makes you think. It kind of hit like all my quadrants of like what I think a good horror movie is, you know, like,
oh, I want to hear that.
Feels like there's some depth here.
Real quick, let's recap the Tim Keck quadrants of what makes a guy a great actor.
Oh, the quadrants for great acting. An actor I'm interested in watching on the screen. The three quadrants for that are: Are they funny? Are they a badass?
Yep.
Are they a good actor?
Yeah.
And so if they're not hitting any of those, I'm not interested.
I love that one of your quadrants for whether or not somebody's a good actor is whether or not they're a good actor.
I think honestly, it's maybe the most important thing. But like, I don't know if Jason Statham's a good actor.
Right.
I have no idea if he's a good actor because he's a badass, and I'm fine with that. That's all I need. Is Will Ferrell a great actor? Actually, he's probably a bad example. Is Jim Carrey a great actor? Well, I don't know. Actually, all these guys are pretty good. I don't know. Name a comedian who's like kind of funny to watch in a movie and then be
Kevin
like,
Hart.
Is he a good actor? I don't know. Is Adam Sandler a good actor? I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's funny.
I think objectively. But all right. Now, what about horror movies? What are your quadrants for horror movies?
Gosh, I don't know. You know what? I was flying back yesterday from Florida, and I watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on the plane.
Awesome.
And then we were delayed because of storms, and we flew over Cleveland for some reason, getting from Florida to New York.
Shout out.
And so I got to watch the first half of Get Out. And every time I watch Get Out, I'm like, this is a freaking awesome movie. This is so cool. It's so creepy. It's creepy in like a different way I haven't really thought of before. It also kind of like makes me think about things differently. Like there's something to think about and process after you kind of understand what the world is. A big thing for me too is like, when do they explain what's happening? And a lot of movies that I don't like, the end of the movie is the explanation. And it's like, that's a la your Hereditaries, where I'm like, I don't understand. I want the explanation, and then I want to live in that world for a little while. And I think this movie does a pretty good job of, there is a strong why. I think there's a lot of mystery around it, but they present it in a way where it's like, it doesn't matter why. That's really not what the movie's about. The movie isn't about the why. It's about obsession. It's about being obsessed with someone and about like what that could like get someone to do if they're obsessed enough with another person. So like, I think that stuff's great. And then it's just like a fun new, I guess, I don't know. What do you think of the horror in this? Did you think it was like new, or did they do something particularly different here? I mean, the social awkwardness of it was weird. The relationship of it is very weird. Like an interpersonal relationship between two people, dating is crazy and creepy and horrible. And I don't know. It's just good. It's just solid stuff.
Yeah. The horror in this movie is my type of shit, dude. This is exactly the kind of stuff that scares me. Like the scene where she is in the shadows watching him sleep is unbelievably horrifying to me. So many moments in this movie cross the point where it destroys my suspension of disbelief that Bear would stay in the situation. Because, I mean, the first time you see her walking backwards, it's like, we're done. This is not going anywhere. I would never, the moment where she's in the corner, I would have a hard time getting out of the room, but out of that room is the only place I would be able to get, let alone like the door being duct taped shut and him coming home.
Dude.
And she's been standing in the same place all day. It's all these things are like the most horrifying possible things I can imagine.
The duct tape door, you got to leave then. You got to leave. That's insane.
There's so many moments when he physically turns his back to her in order to try to like get away in a situation like that, where like I would never be able to not be facing, like I would view that other thing as so much of a threat. Like whatever is inside of the Nikki shell, I would view as so much of a threat that I would never be able to turn my back on it. Again, it's as scared of a thing as I could possibly be. Horror-wise, this thing cleared my bar so far and beyond. I was trying to brainstorm like, yeah, what would my horror quadrants be? Because I love horror. I will watch pretty much any horror movie, no matter how bad it is. I don't like gore, but like if it's not like a Hostel type movie, I'll watch it. You got a ghost movie for me, I'll watch it. I'm not going to love it, but I'll watch it. It for me is what action is for you. So like, I want to see somebody do something that I haven't seen before is the number one thing that I'm looking for. And this movie had that in spades. If I can get greater depth, I'll take it. That's kind of where I want to talk through some of this stuff with you, because I wasn't convinced that this movie dealt with the subject matter maturely enough. I mean, the guy's like in his 20s, so I think he has some growing to do as a person, as a writer, and maybe it just wasn't his priority. I don't want to, tear down a movie for what it isn't. But when we talk about Get Out, when we talk about Barbarian, those are generational horror movies. You get maybe one of these every 10 years, and it's just like a cultural sensation. Not only are they an incredibly effective movie, but they're also speaking to something in the cultural moment. This movie, in a similar way, again, trigger warning. We always try to avoid like certain trigger words on this because we don't know when people are listening to it, but it is pretty obviously commentary on sexual assault. He is imposing his will on someone else against her will. What I was uncomfortable with is I thought there were moments in this movie that could read as though the takeaway is like, man, aren't women crazy when they get obsessed with you, without any kind of engagement with like the deeper themes that it's touching on more directly.
Yeah. Sorry, real quick. My your Zoom's recording for sure.
Yeah. Oh no, did you
my
drop
Adobe
out?
Just shit out on me too.
Are you serious? Yeah, Zoom's
my
definitely
Adobe
recording.
Okay, good. My Adobe's fucking done. It says it's full. I guess my computer is just swamped with shit right now. I need to empty it. It just stopped. But
it's got a lot going on right now.
Zoom, then we should just keep going.
Okay.
I'm interested to hear you say that. I feel like that tracks for knowing you. I feel like you're on top of these things. I don't think it's as simple as like purely about physicality. I think there is also like a mental ownership of something, like a desire, like a hunger for things, like a fear of rejection. I think there's just like a lot going on here that made me feel like they were handling it relatively maturely. I think then they're also looking at it through a specific lens. You're right, of like whoever, like the writer, director, whatever, is pretty young, right? And it's like these are also about young people. Like it all just kind of, it made sense to me in a way that, I've been offended by this stuff before, and this did not really strike me as offensive. But when they brought in like the physicality, like you're seeing these things with him where she's acting nuts. And it's like, oh, any sane person would leave. And then it cuts to a scene of them having sex. And like, it's not even them having sex. It's really him having sex with her. And I like the scene's fascinating because like looking at her face is like, is she into this? Does she want this?
Absolutely not.
She's present, but maybe she's not present.
Right. Nikki is not there. Like,
right. But is she the monster? Does the monster want it? Obviously, the most chilling moment probably in the whole thing is when Nikki comes out and he's like, again, what makes this so interesting is that he is obsessed with her
Mhm.
more than she is obsessed with him. And even when everything's terrible and things are falling apart, he's still obsessed to the point where he's willing to put up with all this stuff. He's willing to
Yeah.
risk his life and his sanity to be with this person. And even at the lowest of moments, he goes, why is it so bad to imagine living with me? Like, is being with me so bad? And Nikki
Insane.
says, I've never been with you.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But then you think about this rational thing and it, like, being obsessed with something, you become irrational about it. And it is a justification. When they keep bringing up these moments of like, is it so bad to think you couldn't live with them? He's like, keeps doing these things because he's insane about her. Like he's crazy about her. Like he's the crazy one. And he's
Yeah.
he's the villain of this for sure.
And that's where, well, yeah. So I won't bring her up right now. We may have her on, but I don't want to put words into her mouth. She can guest on this at a future time. We can talk about Obsession again. But I was texting with another friend of ours who's also into horror movies. When she saw it, she was like, I thought it did great. And I thought it was actually showcasing some of the effects that can happen when women are in a toxic relationship, and it can bring this kind of behavior out of them. But how, because of the actions of the guy that they're with, it can still not really be their fault that they're acting in a strange way after being emotionally manipulated, which is a whole different read. So like, I absolutely can be wrong here.
I mean, going back, you were like, I was so offended by Star Wars or from Andor season 2. I remember you kind of defended that one, where it was like where Bix is like kind of cornered by some stormtrooper guy and they're trying to take advantage of her. And I'm like, this is gratuitous because this is coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But this is like an exploration of this idea, and not on a physical level, but then also on like a deeper, like, why? I feel like this movie keeps asking like why in a way where it doesn't feel sloppy. It feels intentional. It feels like it's trying to show us something, and it's an uncomfortable something, but it does feel like it's exploring an idea as opposed to just like throwing it on for the sake of throwing it on, you know?
That's a great point. I think that points at exactly where the disconnect is for me, is that you're the same reason that you were thrown in Andor season 2, and you were saying that why. Like, I do, obviously it's the subject matter of this movie, but also I don't necessarily feel like they made it clear enough that Bear is the villain, because a lot of the young people that I see discussing this movie online, and, you know, point fingers at media literacy among the younger generations as much as you want. But like, at the end of the day, I'm seeing a troubling number of people, I'm assuming young men, who are like, yeah, I don't know why Bear would want to be with that crazy girl anyway. And it's like, there are so many people I see defending Bear, and the fact that I see any kind of a conversation around whether or not Bear is a bad guy is insane to me. He's in the first like 15 seconds of this movie. You're like, this guy sucks. Like, the point of the opening scene, I think, is supposed to be to establish what a shithole this guy is. So like, I guess that's, I don't know.
I think these guys are telling on themselves. You know, like, are we supposed to dumb down all art for like the dumbest person to view it? Like, are we supposed to like stop exploring ideas because there's a possibility that some people won't understand what's happening? Like, honestly, you know, like the majority of people are fucking stupid, right? So like, are we all just supposed to talk like about fucking stupid shit all the time? Or can we have different interesting conversations and not like, you know, do cat in a hat on a box with a fox every, you know, 5 seconds? You know, like, people are getting dumb. People can't read. There's like a huge literacy problem in this country. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So the idea that somebody would look at this and be like, oh yeah, bitches be crazy. It's like they're telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves. And then you're given an opportunity to either educate them or be like, I don't need to be around this person in my life. Because if you're looking at this situation and yeah,
we need to stop normalizing stupidity and start bullying dumbasses again in this country.
I'm fully on board with bullying. Like, I think I say that, but then it reminds me of our Punisher talk, where it's like, if the Punisher came out today, he would be a member of a political party and he would be making decisions like based on like arbitrary opinions that are like not real. Like there is no way for a person to exist and purely look at things as like good and evil. There's always like, they'd be too convoluted to have that conversation. And so like, I forget where I was going with this, but it's basically like, everyone is different. I don't remember what I was going to say. I remember what I was going to say, but I remember talking about, having an arbitrary, everyone agreeing on like good versus bad is a little tricky. So I don't remember. I don't remember what I was going to say. It was going to be a good point, but now I'm like, we're talking about a specific subject matter where I'm like, I don't need to fumble my way through this.
Dang, dude. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut forward and we're just going to record for like 20 more minutes until you get back on track. And then I'll just cut to my reaction to what you said. Oh shit, dude. That is a good point. God damn.
Thanks, man. Wow. I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate you giving me the space to get through it. So talking about this guy in Obsession, I love that this movie is called Obsession, and that's all it's about. It's about obsession, and he's obsessed with her. I feel like I saw some weird theories online that again also feel a little red pillery, where like she was actually obsessed with him before he was obsessed with her. And I think that's all bullshit. I think that's all bullshit because again, it's people misinterpreting the fact that like, I think she's open to the idea of dating him. Like we meet him initially. I'm like, this guy's a creep. This guy's a loser. How does he have any friends? And then you meet his friends and you're like, I don't know. These are kind of chill people. Why are they putting up with him? Why is this like cute girl hanging out with this guy who's like, looks like he hasn't showered in a month? And like, what is he bringing to the table? Is he funny? Is he interesting? Like, why are they hanging out together? It doesn't seem like he really has any value whatsoever.
We're shown
but she's still open to the idea of dating him.
So this is a great segue into the filmmaking style. In that scene where he is deciding whether or not to confess his feelings to her, like immediately preceding him breaking the one wish Willow, they shot multiple versions of that scene of their conversation in the car. Some where Enda Navarrete, which by the way, we haven't talked about her yet. Oscar performance. This is like amazing. This is one of the best horror movie performances of all time. This is gonna go the same way as Lupita Nyong'o and Us, where it's like she should get an Academy Award for this, and there's no way she's even gonna get nominated
because it's a horror movie, but she should 100%.
Yeah, they'll put her in a drama next year, and then she'll get something for that. But like, it's for Obsession. This was crazy. She was so good. So
she's amazing.
While they were having that scene, they shot it multiple times, but gave her different direction on different takes. So there were a couple takes where she was specifically told, play it this time as though you are secretly in love with Bear. And then there were a couple takes where they were like, play this one like you are really worried that Bear is like about to confess his feelings for you. And then they mixed different cuts from different takes to try to make us, the audience, feel like Bear felt, where he wasn't sure how to read the situation at any point in time.
Right.
Brilliant. Great way to off-put us. There's a couple other things they did that are just absolutely fantastic. The scenes where she's in the shadows and they wanted to create this unsettling feeling where it's scary enough she's in the shadows, but they wanted to kick it up one step further so that I've heard some people say that like the feeling they got was that they could kind of see the thing that's pretending to be Nikki, not just Nikki. The way they did that, there was this makeup trend a couple years ago about how to give yourself the uncanny valley effect if you like go into low lighting, where it's like you can look it up on TikTok. You put like a little bit of extra on top of pupils and you basically shade in the like features of your face a little bit darker. And it's crazy. It really does make it look so unsettling. So they did that with makeup on her. It's all practical. And then when you lower the lights and put that person in the shade, it creates this really scary, like warped version of their face. So it was her. And the whole time I'm like squinting to see it in theater. And I'm like, are they using CGI or something on her face? Like something feels a little bit off. All practical with makeup. Love that stuff.
Do you ever hear the uncanny valley theory that the reason why the uncanny valley exists is because at some point in our history as animals evolving over time, we had to know how to identify human-like things that weren't actually human so we could run away from them.
I
Like,
love that. That is the coolest. I
That's
don't know that
amazing.
anyone's actually like codified that into a horror movie yet, but I love that so much. I think when I looked into it once, the real science behind it is basically dead bodies. Like in general, the people who were afraid of being around a corpse were less likely to pick up whatever diseases led to that corpse being a corpse. So like over time, that just means that all of us kind of try to avoid dead bodies. But like the idea that
Something's
like whether
off.
it's Neanderthals
It's not a
or
lie.
like, yeah, the one that I keep
was
hearing
thinking
lately with all the
Neanderthals.
UAP and UFO stuff is that like aliens look a little bit like us, and that's why we're afraid of the uncanny valley.
Or they're in like human costumes and they
Ugh.
come down and they like try to impersonate us. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to think about the uncanny
Oh,
valley.
God.
I don't know.
Dude, that's always what I think about when it's
I-
like there's like a zookeeper who has like, you know, they'll be in like a giant penguin suit to be able to feed the baby penguins. And that has to look horrifying.
How does that not like fuck up the penguins?
It has to.
And also,
it
like,
has to.
can these penguins really not tell? They really can't tell. Like, maybe when they're babies, like when they're flightless birds with no feathers on them, and you know a Muppet's feeding them, that's one thing. But when you go out, when it's like a human dressed as a
Ugh.
I don't even know if these are a
It's
penguin.
gotta look just like a skin
humans dressed up as
scarecrow.
human-sized penguins.
Ugh. Makes me want to barf. Makes
It'd be
me
weird.
want to
Imagine
barf.
if we were just out hanging out, and then someone came up to us and they were 10 times our size and just wearing a baggy human suit,
Yeah.
and they started giving us hot dogs. How like would we react in that situation?
I was out
Probably
until you
eating
said
the
hot
dogs,
dogs,
but-
Tim.
They're being
What's the brand?
obsessed with hot dogs.
We talking Nathan's?
Keeps me coming back. Oh man, dude, I keep calling them rippers, but I'm not sure that's what it is. But the natural skin dogs,
Yeah,
or
dude,
as soon as they get on
rippers.
the grill, they like snap
Uh-huh.
and pop.
Oh, you
I
got
love it. One
You-
thing I liked about your topic with like with like the shading and all these effects and stuff.
Yeah.
I love this. The budget for this movie is so low. I think
Yeah,
it's like $1 million, right? And there's something about, I love a movie with a low budget that doesn't try and act like it has a bigger budget than it is. Right?
Yeah.
Like how watching this movie, it's like, why aren't there just like so many more of these? You know, but it's hard to do. I think this is hard to do, to make a great movie with this thing, but they're not. There is a moment when she violently comes in and smashes Sarah's face
Oh my
into
God.
the car, like tire over and over again. It's so violent and so gruesome. It doesn't look good, I don't think. I feel like it was like a pivot thing. I feel like there was a hinge there and she just kind of like smashed a doll like or something into the face. Like,
Mhm.
like if you look at it too closely, I'm like, this looks a little shoddy. But they're not like pushing the boundaries of like CGI. Like that's the only thing I can think of where it's like everything else is very grounded. And the horror is from two people interacting, right? And the situation, there's no CGI monster at the end. There's no car chase. There's no like big extravagant set. It's just a grounded thing. And I do think there's some part of that where, you know, CGI Ghost, maybe at night when I'm turning the movie off, I'm not scared to walk to my bed by myself.
Mhm.
Right? Like bad CGI, bad whatever. Like the horror of like an actual person moving in and out of shadows and these interactions between real humans. Like I think the scariest horror is the stuff that like could actually happen
Absolutely.
in real life. Like ghosts don't ever do it for me, but like a guy doing something crazy, sure. Like a real person where you're like, oh my God, someone could do this to me. That's scary.
Oh my God, it's so scary. We talked about this on the Punisher One Last Kill episode. The guy who just is going around the streets of New York committing random acts of horrible violence, that's terrifying.
Ugh.
Because
It's
anybody
so
could just
scary.
do that. Like, it's, yeah. Oh man, I'm right there with you. It's impressive. It makes sense. You know, Curry Barker's videos had popped up for me for years on social media. Like I'd seen him around. It makes sense that a YouTuber who is used to making a lot of content with very little money would be able to make a solid movie with $1 million. The weirdest thing for them has to be figuring out why something should be roughly 90 minutes. Because
Yeah.
You're doing stuff on YouTube. You can make it however long you want. You know, you can do anything from like a Kai Cenat stream to just like a 15-second short. So deciding on 90 minutes has to be kind of a weird thing.
I think it's like an hour 49. It didn't feel that long.
No,
but
yeah, it felt
you're right.
nice and
90
breezy.
minutes is the sweet spot. 90
Also, I
minutes.
gotta
Who
say,
wants to watch anything longer than 90 minutes?
This is a killer double feature with Backrooms. We did that. That's what we did for my birthday this year. We saw Backrooms, we got dinner, and then we went back to see Obsession. Did it before it was back session. Humble brag, not so humble. But they do work really well together. In both cases, extremely young filmmakers delivering unbelievably sophisticated work for their age with relatively small budgets. Like Backrooms still had a small budget. Backrooms still sources the vast majority of its horror from very mundane situations. And any of the things that are a little bit more fantastical for Backrooms can still be boiled down to like a really simple conceit. And, you know, that just works.
I got to see Backrooms.
Backrooms is good. It's honestly, I liked Backrooms more than Obsession because there's a little bit more depth to it, but they are kind of like the inside each of us are two wolves of horror movies. It is completely, it's a lot closer to Exit 8, where it's like a lot more about interiority, whereas like Obsession is it's externalizing its feelings very directly with guns and steering wheels.
Yeah. I guess so. I'd have to check it out. I don't know. I wonder if we have different reads on the level of depth to this movie or not, or if you were just kind of put off by it. I was going to say what were the craziest horror elements of this to you? I want to touch on the characters and like the scariest parts of this, because one of the moments that really kind of shook me was the part where they go to the party together and she is still acting wild. And also his friend, who I can't tell if this guy's a good dude or not. I think probably intentionally he's kind of a shitty dude. And up top, he's like kind of wingmanning for him. But ultimately, I don't think he was really trying to help him at all because he's
because he'd been hooking up with Nikki.
Obsessed with. Yeah. Which I feel like I called as soon as I was like, oh, they live near each other and she always gets a ride home with him. There's a reason, man. This is happening. Then when they're at the party and this behavior is still happening in front of everybody, after we hear from his friend, people are mad at you because it's clear something's going on with her and you are here taking advantage of it. That's crazy. And the fact that she is actively like crying out for help in this public situation, he's like embarrassed by it, but he's still wants to go home with her. He's still obsessed with her. Mm-hmm. Everyone has to react to that. Everyone knows something's wrong. And then on top of that, nobody helps her.
Yeah.
No one else in this movie helps her at all. They're just watching this train wreck and they're judging the guy, but they're not making any effort to help the girl out. It's creep. And then she's doing that. Then she's like making all these faces. Then at one point she's like, I'm joking. And then she's like, I'm not joking. I mean it. So what? I'm like, that's so funny. That scene was just had everything to me, where it was so complicated emotionally and then scary and funny. And I'm still thinking about it.
It was a great way to move things forward and level up the events that were going on. The scariest for me, I think, might have been, or the most traumatizing for me, I think, might have been the scene where he calls the One Wish Willow Company and
what is that?
Ask to put Nikki on the phone. She's screaming. It's awful, dude. That's like reckless. That's young person making movies shit. Where like you hear about Steven Spielberg talking about Jaws and he's like, I never would have done the Kittner. I never would have shown all that blood in the water when Kittner got eaten if I made that movie now. And it's like, that is a 20-year-old being like, yeah, fucking put it in the movie.
It was so scary, horrifying. But I don't get it. I don't know what was it?
I mean, it's her. Like her soul is gone. So we didn't really get to talk very much yet about what we think the thing was occupying Nikki. At first, I don't necessarily think after watching the whole movie, this is the thing. But at first, I thought basically the Obsession version of Nikki was an allegory for like AI and LLMs being really sycophantic and trying to do whatever it takes to please you, but not actually, like they're not actually being anything there. There's no intelligence there. There's not a soul there. You're interacting with a robot that's trying its hardest to mimic being a human. And like, I've seen some interesting stuff on Reddit where people have a ton of hypotheses about like what the nature of the thing is, whether there's like a being inside of there, like a demon that's dedicated to one purpose, or whether it truly is like a bizarre, like a fragment of a soul that took over the body and it is just singularly devoted to the purpose of what the wish was there for. And in order for that thing to be there, Nikki's soul has to be somewhere else, basically in hell, like in wherever this one wish willow world is. There's also a lot of interesting stuff. I got to go back and watch the movie to see if it tracked. People keep saying things like any of the times where she kind of breaks and it seems like maybe Nikki's back for a second. I guess that always happens after she looks at a mirror. And then there's stuff later where like the mirrors will be covered up, which I completely missed on the first watch of this movie. If that's more obvious, but like
that's crazy. I did notice the mirror thing before. I didn't realize they were getting covered up. I mean, God,
definitely
that's really
rewatch
good.
That.
That's really good. I need to rewatch it. The ending of this too. There's this Wishing Willow thing. I am fascinated by it. I'm wondering if there's another movie in this, just like a different story involving the Wishing Willows.
Dude, there's going to be fucking kind of 12 mistake. Obsessions. This is the Hugh Jackman Wolverine of horror movies. They're going to milk this thing forever.
I feel like it's a mistake. I feel like explaining more about it is probably a bad idea, but I want to know. At the end of the movie, Nikki, the monster Nikki, makes a wish that he's obsessed with her, but then the monster is so obsessed with her that he doesn't realize that the human is dying. And then at the end, Nikki's monster dies, but then Nikki's there. And it's like, does Nikki get help for this? Does she go to jail? Like, what happens to Nikki after all this? That was my biggest question at the end of this. Is like, what happens next? Like, she's in the situation. How traumatized is she? Does she understand the wishing, like the Wishing Willow? Does she go back to the store? Does she explore that more? Does she make a wish at some point? Could she make a wish to like negate what happened or pretend that never happened? I don't know. It's fascinating. And when the guy wished for $1 billion, he got $1 billion rained on him, and it physically hurt.
That didn't hit for me. That's the one point where it's like, okay, yeah, this is YouTuber humor, which is maybe like I'm now entering my boomer phase where I'm like, oh, these kids don't do comedy right.
What hit for me was the expression on Bear's face. That's what hit for me. All the money's raining down and Bear's like devastated. He's like, why? Like, why couldn't you believe me? And the contrast between $1 billion landing on the floor and him being so devastated by his friend is fast. I think it's fascinating. I don't know if it's hilarious, or funny, but I found it really interesting.
I'll take it.
I was trying to do the money math
agree to
on
disagree.
this.
It really broke the reality for me. But you know,
I think it does confirm that the wishing is real, but then also, is there a downside to him getting this thing? Like, is there a consequence to this?
I mean, yeah, I think there always will be. That's a classic monkey paw. But we're out of time for now. Listener, what did you think of this one? Let us know. Send an email, nerdy430@gmail.com. We will be back here again in 2 weeks. I think talking about Spider-Man, if my math is right. We will see you there.
Whoa.
And until then, stay nerdy, everybody. Bye.
Stay nerdy. Bye.
I did like this one a lot more than I disliked it. Like, this is still like, this is a good horror movie in my books. I really enjoyed it.
It's really good. I liked it a lot. I think it's top tier.